There's several challenges, I think. One is the enormous growth, unorderly growth patterns that are occurring, and in many cities also the lack of financial resources to deal with financing an orderly growth and a sustainable development pattern. So in most of the cities, particularly in Latin America, you see a vacuum in governance patterns that raise a series of problems in the areas of housing and urban development, mobility, congestion, a lack of seizing opportunities in terms of regional economic development, and so on. So I see it's a paradox. A lot of opportunities. People move to the metropolis specifically in function of the opportunities they hope to gain, but in reality there are a lot of problems. I see two dimensions in the profile of this new planner. One is the capability to look at several dimensions at the same time. So this idea of the modernist planner who was more specifically looking at physical dimensions, it's still important. I'm not one of the persons that believes that physical master planning is completely outdated. I think it's still very important to look at physical land use patterns. But at the same time, is the dimension of economics, technological dimension. So I think that would be the first element, a broad, holistic look on how cities develop, how cities do not develop, and to be able to incorporate this towards an active, action-oriented perspective. The second dimension is the complexity of modern cities. So cities in India are quite different from cities in Latin America. So, and cities are increasingly inserted in a globalization. So I think this is related to the planning profession, because I think the second dimension of the new planner is that he will be able to transform his view to learn from city development processes. The tendency is that the market will gradually absorb this kind of professional, but because my understanding is the market is interested in professionals with holistic capacity to draw a synthesis to specific problems, to be forward-looking, to have an adaptive capacity to solve problems and to integrate these solutions within complex organizations. I think that's exactly the profile of the professional we are educating. So initially, of course, there will be a sort of a question of what is this new professional? But once they increasingly absorb these new planners and economists and policymakers, I think there will be an incremental recognition of the value of these people. I think it's ambitious in a good sense, in a sense of trying to give solutions for the cities in the 21st century in India. And I think it's giving solutions in a very promising way of trying to sort of formulate responses and to put into the market a new generation of planners. And I think it's exciting for the whole planning discussion in India and South Asia. So I'm very impressed, I have to admit. I think strategically, you made the right choice to start at the master's level, because I imagine at the undergraduate, specifically undergraduate level, will take up additional challenges. So I think strategic choices that have been made are correct. I think you've made a lot of progress. In terms of the new challenges I expect for the discussion here is it's going to be very important to separate the specific target groups, like target group executive education, first niche, for those more experienced learners that are in the system, and they are typically a little bit outdated with the academic curriculum, but they need to be updated. That's one niche. The other niche is the new people coming out of the secondary school system, and also coming out of the sectoral disciplinary traditions, economics, planning, and they want to do a master. That's a different niche. The second challenge, in my view, is that the secret is in the right combination, and that's place specific for Brazil, Latin America. That will be one combination, but the magic, the specific detail of the mix, the right mix between, on the one hand, a foundation, a good holistic foundation, and then the specialization, which will change. I mean, this mix it's not a static variable. It will be dynamic. It will be changing. It's object of a continuous process of changing and learning. But I think because a lot of people are going to watch over your shoulder what you're doing, right? Because this is a big, ambitious project program. So I think it's, of course, it's experimental. It's learning by doing. You can make mistakes, but it will be very important to minimize the mistakes in the first learning cycle.